Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 98 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills answers your table tennis questions. Today, we give some advice for big players, talk about moving in doubles, discuss how much training is too much, and give you ideas for improving your backhand serve. I'm Jeff Plum, and as always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is here with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Good morning, Jeff. And today wearing the green because in some parts of the world it's still St. Patrick's Day. Not here, unfortunately. Forgot about it yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot about it yesterday too. So happy St. Patrick's Day for yesterday or today if it's still St. Patrick's Day for everyone out there. Yeah, I've got a few Irish friends and I saw them post on Facebook and that's how I remembered it, Alois.
Yes. Yeah, very popular day.
Indeed. Now, today, Alois, I'm testing out a new microphone. So we're hoping it's going to be a bit clearer. So let us know if you think that the new microphone is clearer or if you can't tell any difference at all. So let us know that. Alois, we're getting very close to our 100th show, so we've still got our competition running. You've got today and tomorrow to enter the competition. Do you want to just give a quick run through of the competition again?
Yeah, so just some ideas on how we can improve the Ask the Coach show. So we've already had some really great suggestions. What you need to do is you need to go to the Ask the Coach show number 96 on the blogs in www.pingskills.com and put down there your suggestions of how we can improve the Ask the Coach show. And the best suggestion wins a yearly membership to the premium membership of PingSkills. So, yeah, get on there. Give us some good ideas. We already had some good ones. So, put your thinking hat on and see if you can get us some really top tips to improve this even more.
Absolutely, that'll be great. All right. Yesterday's PingSkillers question of the day, Alois, was what is the most important stroke in table tennis? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so Dita put a comment on the blog yesterday, and he's pretty close to the mark. So he was talking about the short backspin serve or the forehand counter hit. I think it was Dita. For me, I reckon it's probably, a toss-up between the serve and I think the forehand topspin. So he talked about, the forehand counter hit, though, as being the building block for all your forehand strokes. So from your block to your topspin to whatever. But I think as far as a match situation, the forehand topspin is the stroke for me that wins you matches.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, I personally always thought that, the forehand topspin was the most important stroke for me. I felt like if I was hitting that well, I got good results when playing. But, when you see all the top players, they're good at everything. So it's kind of, it's an interesting question. But, I'm going to stick with the forehand topspin myself.
Yeah, and the serve's definitely important. Like the serve is probably as important as the forehand topspin. It's not much in it. But, I mean, if you've got a good serve, you can win matches too. So, yeah.
Absolutely. But then, it is a tricky question because nowadays the backhand topspin is becoming so important too because, the game's got a lot quicker. So I noticed once players develop a backhand topspin, their level improves up a notch as well. So, I mean, you can make arguments for all the strokes, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. But for me, I think still forehand topspin is the killer, is the one that if you haven't got a good strong forehand topspin, then it's always a struggle.
Okay, and then the serve, a close second. Good one. All right, so the PingSkillers question for today is, how do you watch the best players in the world? So we'd like to know, do you jump on YouTube? Do you look at the ITTF website? What do you do? Let us know how you watch the best table tennis matches in the world. Leave a comment for us. All right, Alois. Let's get on to some questions. First up, let's take one from Victor, who's again jumped on the show and used the Google Q&A app to ask a question. He says, do you have any special tips to improve my game against the tall guy? I've noticed that I need more tips from the legendary experts.
Victor, aka Brocky. So, it's a little bit more about just now training and improving your overall game. Once you've developed some basic tactics of how to play them, then it's a matter of developing so that you play all of those strokes better, that you can be more effective with each of the strokes and being able to play into his middle better and stronger and with more variation. So practice, Victor.
Yeah, and in line with yesterday's PingSkills question of the day, Alois, if you work on your forehand topspin and your serve, that is going to have a big impact on your game.
Yeah, that's right. If you haven't got the weapons, the strokes, then all the tactics in the world can't help. So you need to just keep developing your game as well.
All right, good luck, Brock. Soon, I can feel it. You're going to take that tall guy down. All right, on a related question, Alois, Matt has said, I just wanted to ask if you have any advice for big players, as I am 6'7" and 300 plus pounds. I love both bodybuilding and table tennis, especially table tennis. But obviously, being this size slows me down, and I feel I am at a big disadvantage. So do you have any advice for Matt, Alois?
Jeff, do you reckon that Matt might be the tall guy?
Ooh, who knows? Maybe he wants to get some advice on how to beat Victor. Although he's...
So Matt, a couple of things. So being so tall, one really important thing is obviously just being able to get down lower and utilize your legs to get a lower center of gravity. Get your feet wide. So if your feet are narrow, then your center of gravity becomes very tippy. So as soon as you tip a little bit, you're going to fall over. So utilize your height by getting your feet really wide. So once you're really wide, then you can really start to cover a lot of the area just by reaching and leaning a little bit. So that's the first and the most important thing. Get your legs really wide. Then make sure you're bending your knees as well. So it's okay to have them wide, but if you haven't got knees bent, then you've got no flex to move around. So get wide, get down low. Being a bodybuilder, hopefully your legs are reasonably strong. And that's a key component to being able to hold that nice low position with your legs as well. So from there, your reach is going to be your biggest weapon. Being able to cover most of the table with your backhand and your forehand without even having to move too much. The big area for tall guys, as we talked to Victor about, is that middle area. So that middle area can be quite difficult to cover. Once you're wide and you've got a wide stance, then you can lean a little bit this way and that way to be able to cover that middle area as well. So you can lean without having to move your feet, and also without tipping over, because you've got that nice wide base. So they're the main things, Matt. Get down nice and low, utilize your legs and your reach, which is your really big weapon.
Excellent advice, Alois. Now, while you were giving some great tips there for Matt, I was thinking, are there any players that he can watch to, see tall players in action? And I thought, well, how tall is Samsonov? And I just went in and Googled how tall is Samsonov, and up came a nice little box and it said 1.89 meters and told me straight away. I love Google. I keep on coming up with great things.
So what's 1.89 meters in feet? I wonder.
It was 6'2.5", I think.
Okay. Yep. So Matty's a bit taller. He's 6'7".
A lot taller.
Yeah, same principles though. Same principles. Even players like Wang Li Chin were really tall. So yeah, watch those sort of guys. Jorgen Persson, player from the past. Watch how well he bends his legs and his position at the table too.
Okay, all right. So hopefully that's helped you out, Matt. All right. Now the next question is from Kushik, who says, in doubles, after serving, I move to the side, but often my partner complains that I do not move away from the line of the ball, making it difficult for him to return, and I find myself out of position. So what is the best way of moving in doubles?
Yeah, doubles movement is probably one of the really keys of being good at doubles and getting better. So if we've got the two players here, okay, so we've got the table in front of me, got the two players here. So if I'm playing my stroke, I need to get to that middle position there where I'm able to play my stroke effectively. As soon as I play, then I need to move out of the way. So you can just move out this way and then your partner come in here. So we've got that sort of movement happening. So in a V motion. Or after you play, you can move around to the back. So then we swap players now. So then this player hits the ball and then moves around so that you're here. So once you're back here though, as this player moves back, you move straight in so that you're ready to move straight into that position. So finding this position as often as possible is the key. So you need to be in a close to the table position where you'd play singles from. If you think about that, where would you like to be when you're playing singles? It's here, close to the table, fairly central. So it's then moving around and back into the position where you can move there as quickly as possible. And then this player needs to move around to the back as quickly as possible as well to get out of the way. So it's just that movement of players, moving around in either a circular motion or in a V motion. So just this way and this way so that you're staying out of each other's way.
And I guess the trick also, Alois, is you've got to move out of the way, but you don't want to move too far. Otherwise, it's hard for you to get back into position. So I guess there's a balance there.
That's right. Yeah. So that's why you want to move around and stay as close as you can to this position here. If you wander off over here, then it takes you too long to get back to here to play your next shot.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, hopefully that helps you out, Kushik. And just the more you play, try out the different types of movements Alois was talking about and see what works best for you. Yep. Yes.
Yeah, we had a question today as well from DK. Asked a question. So he was asking a question about he's more of a defensive player and playing with an attacker. So in that situation, what you can do is have the attacking player up close to the table most of the time, okay, and they just move sideways this way, and the defensive player who would like to play more from the back of the table can stay here basically. So they can stay back here. The attacking player plays there and just moves out of the way and back in again. And then the defensive player plays their shot and, can move to the side a little bit as well to allow the attacking player plenty of space. So, yeah, so lots of different combinations and ways that you can just think about how to move. As Jeff said, though, the key is to stay as close as you can to your next position. So don't wander off. Stay as close as you can, be out of your partner's way, but then be close to be able to move back into that middle position again.
Indeed. And we do have a lesson for premium members on double strategy, which talks about this movement. So I'll put a link in the show notes to that. All right. Next question is from Friendy, who says, I wanted to know how much training frequency I should do in 1 week, because from now on I'll practice 6 times in 1 week and the duration is 1 hour each day. But I'm afraid that it's too much and will make my condition bad. What are your thoughts on this, Alois?
Yeah, you got to monitor that yourself a little bit, friendy. So for each person, it's different. You need to think about what fits into your life. So if doing 1 hour a day, 6 days a week means that everything else goes out the door, it's probably not the ideal situation. So you need to start to think about, do I have a spare 1 hour, 6 days a week? If you do, that's the first step. The second thing is to think about physically, can you cope with that? So think about after your training session or after your 6 sessions, do you still feel ready to train, or are you completely tired and you can't do anything else? So it's a management situation there as well, of your physical ability and also your ability to fit your training in with everything else that you do. But certainly, at the top level, the top players are training more than that. So it's possible to train more and keep improving. So I'd say ideally for most players level, if you can train 3 to 4 times a week and an hour and a half to 2 hours, that's great. So that's 8 to 10 hours a week.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it, to fit everything in with your life? And I guess it depends a lot on your goals and how much time you have and what you're trying to achieve. So yeah, really a personal choice, I guess, Alois. And then, as you said, you need to be physically able to cope with that amount of training as well. All right. I hope that helps out, friendy. Next question is from Macy, who says, when I start to... Maciek. Sorry, wasn't quite sure how to say it, but we'll go with Maciek. Hopefully we've got that right. When I started to work on doing more effective backhand serves, I see that some of these servers are great and some are very bad. This is for sure something that I can work harder on. But one thing is, the biggest problem is I throw the ball up and I miss it.
Yeah. So the backhand serve can be a little bit tricky as far as coordinating your throwing hand and your bat. So either you can start with your bat above the ball, or you can start with the bat below the ball. So that's the first thing for you to work out what's more comfortable. There's no right and wrong. It's just what feels more comfortable for you. So whether it's here or there. So then when you're throwing the ball up, it's a matter of just making sure you're throwing it up nice and straight and consistently. So to start off with, what you can do is just throw the ball up and catch it and try to keep it as similar as possible, so that then that becomes easy. One way you can also do that is just put a piece of paper on the floor down in front of you, throw the ball up and see if you can land it on that piece of paper. So that will start to get that a little bit more consistent. Now you can make the paper as big or as small or as big as you want. Then with the actual serve, it's a matter of just getting the action correct. So the semicircular action with the backhand serve, and getting the contact consistent. If you can do all of those things, then you'll start to develop your serve. But remember, with serving, it's really a lot about just doing it a lot. It's a fine contact. The ball's going this way, the bat's coming that way. You've got to coordinate that so that it meets up each time and meets up consistently. It can be difficult. And that's why it's a difficult skill, and one that you just have to keep training as much as you can, Maciek.
Great. All right. Hope it helps you out, Maciek. And try out some of those tips and let us know how it goes. Next question is from Lucas, who says, I've improved massively on the backhand topspin and the loop, but only when I'm close to the table. When I'm far away, I can't seem to get a clean hit and the ball just flies away. Do you have any tips on how to do the backhand topspin from far away from the table?
Yeah, so try and keep your stroke the same. So when you're close to the table, if you're doing it well, so you must have a reasonable sort of action. Then when you're a little bit further away from the table, you've got a bit more time. You can just extend that same stroke. So rather than this, it just becomes bigger and a longer stroke. When you're back there as well, try to really watch the ball, because the ball will be dipping, it'll be moving in a different way than when you're close to the table. So you just need to watch that ball. You can also think about hitting the ball from a little bit more outside, if you're a right-hander, outside your left hip. So when you're close to the table, it's more from in front of your body. When you're back from the table, you've got a little bit more time. You can turn and hit the ball more from your left hip, from here. And that will just help to extend that same stroke. But if you notice, the bat's still moving in the same direction. So here, just extends, 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 and extends. So yeah, just build on your the stroke that you've got now with the close to the table topspin, and just extend it out as much as you can.
Yeah, one thing I found difficult when further away on the backhand, Alois, was getting into position. I don't know why, but on the forehand, I thought I could get into position more easily and adjust if the ball was wider, or, you know, dropped a bit lower or came up a bit higher. I felt like on the forehand, it was easier to adjust to those things. Whereas the backhand, if I was further away, I found it hard to get into exactly the right position. Have you got any experience with that?
Oh, I certainly have. Yeah, my backhand was shocking. So yeah, I think one of the really key things there is that you haven't got as much scope with the backhand as you do with the forehand. So with the forehand, as you said, it's a little bit easier to make the adjustments out there with your extensions, with your arm, etc. With the backhand, it can be a little bit more confining, I suppose. So yeah, so you do need to make sure that your feet are working well to get yourself into good position to be able to make that stroke. So yeah, it's a really, really relevant point, Jeff. Yeah, so your feet are really important there to move to a position where you can play that stroke from.
All right. Well, it sounds like you're going well, Lucas. Keep on working on it, and hopefully those tips there help you out, and I'm sure you'll continue to improve. All right. Now, Victor Alois wants to know, what was the first advanced stroke that you learned?
Oh, what's an advanced stroke? I don't know. Probably the side spin, top spin. Yeah, because I enjoyed doing the forehand top spin. So I think just, you know, experimenting a little bit with a bit of side spin, hook and fade on the ball. Probably those. What about you, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I mean, all different levels have different ideas of what an advanced stroke is. You know, so initially when you first go to a club and someone puts backspin on the ball, I mean, it's just really hard to return that stroke. So, you know, the push you wouldn't say is an advanced stroke, but as a beginner, it kind of is. So, you know, learning the push is one. But then, you know, I found it quite difficult, Alois, to learn how to top spin a backspin ball. And it took me quite a while, you know, to get the feeling for that. And, you know, so maybe even the forehand topspin. But yeah, some people might say that's not an advanced stroke, but I'm going to say the forehand topspin.
Okay. Yeah, good one. Yeah, and you're right. It's all about your level and where you are as to what you feel like is an advanced stroke. So yeah, and that forehand topspin against backspin is such a vital one. You know, when you walk into a club or into a new situation, and you can hit the ball reasonably well, you know, you've got some good hitting skills, and then suddenly someone puts some backspin on the ball and you try to hit it and it dives straight down. You think, my goodness, what is this? Yeah, so that becomes really advanced, doesn't it? So yeah, it's good relevant point, Jeff.
Indeed. Well, that wraps up episode 98. Make sure you get to PingSkills.com and enter our 100th show competition by giving us some ideas on how we can make this show better. And while you're there, answer a few PingSkillers questions of the day on the blog. And if you haven't, sign up for our free newsletter. We give out great table tennis tips in that too. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Alois.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. And yeah, so don't forget to put some comments on whether you think that the microphone that Jeff's using is better or not. And also, we just hear from Victor that he is meeting the tour guy tomorrow. All right, we'll get an update, no doubt.
Indeed. All right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.